Okay, the comparison model helps students to determine how many more of one quantity exists than another. Okay, so let me kind of model this out here. So 8 minus 3 equals, we don't know, right? So let's say I've got 8 of an object. This is again another visualization technique. I've got 8 of them so far. And I have 3 in the second group, right? So here's group A, set A, here's set A, here's set B. How many more, when I compare the two, how many more does the first set have than the second set? And hopefully you go, oh, that's 5, right? So a comparison model would be just visualizing two different sets and comparing the difference between the two different sets. All right, the next method is called a number line model. And this is used by using a number line again and moving to the left or instead of the right. So adding, we move to the right, subtraction, move to the left. So let me go back to that 8 minus 3 for example. So I need a number line. All right, so there's 8. And I'm going to go 3 units to the left this time. So 1, 2, 3. Where am I at? I'm at 5. Okay, so let's get a little technical definition of what we mean when we say subtraction. So for any whole numbers, A and B, such that A is greater than or equal to B, meaning, remind ourselves what that means. That means either A is greater than B or A is equal to B. A minus B, the difference of A and B, is a unique whole number, C, such that B plus C equals A. Alright, so in fancy speak again, I've got two numbers. One may or may not be bigger than the other. And I can find a third number, and it might be 0, that I can add to the smaller to get to the larger. Okay, so the idea behind a lot of these techniques is sort of this allows us to help the student understand algebraic reasoning. So we can look at some statements that seem fairly familiar from an elementary school point of view, but there's some very powerful algebra that's in there. So you might throw on the board, you might ask them 9 plus 5 equals sun. What is the value of sun? And you can talk about how different values make the statement either true or false. And that helps plant the seeds for algebraic reasoning later on down the road. So for example, if the sun happens to equal 10, we would say that that equation is false. However, if the sun equals 14, we would say it's true. And so having those conversations and using that terminology that equations can be true and false, that you can solve for missing values, goes back to that idea I said earlier about the subtraction technique. We can switch to an adding, and then we can find the missing value. So if I put 12 minus box equals 4, you can start introducing that, well, what's missing? And when they get to high school, that same equation becomes an x. And hopefully by that point it's not so frustrating for them. So there's a lot of power in introducing these algebraic equations and helping the students visually see the different ways to interpret and read them.